You are not ready for this. The most dangerous rookie on the Seahawks offense in 2025 was a fifth-round pick. I'm Ethan Carter, and today we're ripping open a real dilemma. This roster has raw talent, it has growing pieces, but it also carries some dangerous gambles. A rookie wide receiver is already getting more attention than an expensive veteran. A legendary NFL name might be one step away from our locker room. The defense wants tactical reinforcement with an underrated cornerback. And in the middle of all this, the league's most overlooked safety has become our anchor. But is that enough to turn Seattle into a true contender? What's up, 12s? All good? Welcome to another video here on your news and analysis channel, the Seahawks Insider Report. I'm here this Tuesday with a truckload of news, hot analysis, and everything about the team that makes Lumen Field rumble, our Seattle Seahawks. But first things first, honestly, humbly, I wanted to ask those of you who aren't yet part of our nation here on the channel. My friends, passionate about the Seahawks, it's free and it helps us out so much. Subscribe to the channel. Let's strengthen this Seahawks community. If you can still hear the roar of the 12th man echoing even in the dark years, subscribe now and comment with neon blue and green. Unbelievable surprise. The most promising receiver on the roster isn't named Kupp or Smith-Njigba. It's Tory Horton, a rookie who's already shaking up the hierarchy before training camp even begins. You heard that right. I, Ethan Carter, am not here to sugarcoat it. Horton, a fifth-round pick, is dominating in practice and absolutely can take on a significant role in the offense right away. And before anyone says it's an exaggeration, let's look at the facts. In an offense full of question marks, with Sam Darnold trying to resurrect his career, an aging Kupp, and Valdez-Scantling delivering less than promised, Horton represents exactly what we need: speed, unpredictability, and a hunger for the spotlight. The kid comes from a solid collegiate career at Colorado State with over 3,600 yards and 27 touchdowns, even facing a knee injury last year. But what really grabs attention isn't the resume. It's what he's already showing on the field: clean separation, precise routes, quick cuts, and most importantly, the attitude of someone who wants to fight for space. The coaching staff is already noticing, especially since Valdez-Scantling at 31 no longer has the explosion or consistency, and Horton offers the exact opposite: youth, hunger, and versatility. The kid is 6'2", runs a 4.42 40-yard dash, and can still break tackles easily in open space. In other words, he's not just a vertical burner. He can be a pressure relief valve for Darnold when the pocket collapses. He can stretch the field to open up space for Smith-Njigba on crossers. And he can, above all, earn cheers from the 12th man with sudden big plays. And want to know the craziest part? The fantasy football community has already noticed before much of the media. Tory Horton has become a hot pick in dynasty leagues, and that's never by chance. These guys hunt for talent where no one else is looking, and it seems they've found a gold nugget in Seattle. Now, the challenge is to fit Horton into a transitional offense where the aerial game is still reorganizing after the departures of Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Horton needs to devour the chance to steal targets from Valdez-Scantling, and if he does, prepare to see jersey number 84 flying down the sidelines frequently. But hold that thought, because if you thought it was bold to name a rookie as a potential offensive solution, just wait until you hear the names circulating behind the scenes to reinforce the pass rush. A potential Hall of Famer might be closer to Lumen Field than you imagine. Shock. That's the only possible word when you hear this for the first time. Von Miller could be wearing blue, green, and silver this season. Yes, the same Von Miller, living legend of the pass rush, two-time Super Bowl champion, owner of 123 career sacks, is officially on the Seattle Seahawks radar. And for many, it might seem like a delusion. But in the corridors of Lumen Field, the conversation is serious. I'm Ethan Carter, and I'll get straight to the point. At 36, with a history of injuries, and without a contract since March, Miller might seem like a player at the end of the line. But this is exactly the type of profile the Seahawks need right now. Because the problem with our defense isn't talent. It's maturity, leadership, and consistency in decisive plays. And Von Miller, even far from his prime, still delivers all of that. The coaching staff, with Mike Macdonald and Aiden Durd, is building a hybrid, aggressive, and flexible system where Miller fits like a glove. He can play as an edge rusher, as a tighter linebacker in the box, as a surprise blitz piece. It's defensive chess, and Miller is the knight that leaps over any tactical obstacle. And let's talk about impact. Even physically limited, the guy had 6 sacks in 13 games last year. That's playing in an inconsistent system in Buffalo. Imagine what he can deliver in Seattle, with DeMarcus Lawrence and Uchenna Nwosu alongside, opening up space and splitting pressure. What's more, Miller's mere presence changes the practice standard. He can be the mentor Tyrese Knight needs, the mirror Ernest Jones IV can use to reach a new level. It's not just on the field, it's behind the scenes too. And seriously, 12s, you remember the difference Cliff Avril made in 2013, right? The impact of a veteran at the peak of his game intelligence, pulling up the younger guys and demanding a high level all the time. The coaching staff knows this, John Schneider knows this. And that's why Miller's name hasn't left the discussion, despite the risks. He'd come on a short contract, likely productivity-based, and would go through a heavy battery of medical tests. But if approved, it's the type of signing that signals ambition. It's proof that Seattle doesn't just want to compete, it wants to win again. Now, before you ask me if the cap can handle this, yes, it can. The window is open. The question is, will we have the courage to go through it? Because if Miller arrives, the defense instantly elevates. But that's still locker room talk. Now, the next speculation isn't about a big-name player, but about an underrated piece that can unlock Macdonald's tactical scheme in a way no one is expecting. Direct challenge. Why on earth is no one talking about Mike Hilton? Because if you understand modern defense, you know what he offers goes way beyond statistics. I'm Ethan Carter, and I'm calling it now. Hilton is the kind of player you only truly appreciate when he's on your team, and you miss him when he's not. And the truth is, the Seahawks are flirting with a move that might seem discreet, but is absolutely strategic. Mike Hilton, a free agent, 31 years old, with experience in multiple schemes and a history of locker room leadership, is on Seattle's radar, and for good reason. With Aiden Durd molding a defensive system based on quick adjustments, route reading, and controlled aggression, Hilton would be the perfect wild card. He can play zone with refined reading or stick to a slot receiver in man-to-man coverage. He can blitz from the edge and still help with third down coverage. He's the kind of player who doesn't shine on TV, but makes the opposing offense burn clock trying to figure out where he is, and that has immense value. We already have a young and explosive duo in Witherspoon and Rick Woolen, but the addition of Hilton would open up space for something rare, consistency, because Hilton wouldn't come to take anyone's spot. He'd come to complete, to structure, to provide security in moments when the young players are still learning to breathe deeply in the chaos of the NFL. Nick Emenwari, for example, would have a direct reference for how to position himself, how to communicate, how to react in the red zone. This, my friends, is culture building, and there's also the physical side. Hilton has no serious injury history, maintains a high level of conditioning, and unlike many people his age, still has enough acceleration to cover the first 5 steps with precision, which ultimately decides half of the short pass plays. And from a tactical standpoint, Mike Macdonald would love to have a nickel corner who understands hybrid packages, pre-snap reads, and can still trick the opposing quarterback with false positioning. It's pure gold. Contractually, Hilton would be cheap, something around 1 year, with an option for extension, fitting perfectly into the logic of targeted reinforcement without squeezing the salary cap. And emotionally, the kind of player who arrives quietly and transforms the practice standard just with his demeanor. If you lived through the Legion of Boom era, you know how much these quiet and efficient guys change the DNA of an entire group. So open your eyes, fan, because if Von Miller represents immediate impact, Hilton could be the invisible foundation that makes the machine work. But if you think we've talked enough about defensive security, just wait until you hear what they're saying about our most underrated safety and how he could be the silent pillar of a dominant defense in 2025. Positive emotional reflection. Amidst so many uncertainties, There's a quiet certainty that the most observant fans have already noticed. Julian Love has become the Seahawks' defensive safe haven. And no, that's not an exaggeration. I'm Ethan Carter, and today I need to take my hat off to a guy who arrived quietly, took on responsibility, and is now being recognized as one of the best safeties in the NFL. In a league where everyone screams, Love delivers in silence. According to a recent ESPN survey, talking to league executives, Julian Love was listed as the 10th best safety in the NFL, ahead of much more hyped names. And if you look at the numbers coldly, you understand why. 7 interceptions, 22 passes defensed, and over 230 tackles in the last 2 years. But what those numbers don't show is what he does without the ball. The play recognition, the pre-snap communication, the ability to close the space between the linebackers and the secondary like lightning. He's become the balance between aggression and intelligence. In 2024, he led all safeties in ball hawk rate with an incredible 21.8%. That means for every 5 balls thrown in his direction, he interfered with more than 1. That's elite. And an important detail, he didn't play safety in college. He was a corner, which only makes this ascent even more impressive. The coaching staff recognizes this. Mike McDonald has already called him the anchor of the new defensive identity, and rightly so. While other veterans have left, like Rayshawn Jenkins, and young players like Emin Worry and Kobe Bryant are being molded, Love is the connecting link. He's the one who holds things down when everything seems disorganized. He's the one who organizes the chaos. The most impressive thing is the cost benefit. Love signed a 3-year, $33 million extension. In NFL terms, that's a steal. It's the kind of contract championship teams make, paying a fair price for extremely high performance. And to top it off, he's not just good on paper. He's good in the locker room. He's a good example. He's good in execution. He's the kind of player who would make the Legion of Boom proud, not for brute force, but for surgical precision, for consistency, for reliability. And what does this mean for 2025? That Seattle has a solid defensive foundation, ready to sustain the evolution of an offense still under construction. Love is the common thread between generations, between styles, between the rebellion of youth and the serenity of experience. But now the question no one dares to ask needs to be asked. With all this on the line, new offensive talents, veterans being considered, a tactical system evolving, could 2025 be the year the 12th man stops suffering and starts truly dreaming again? Tory Horton could be the spark, Von Miller, the veteran thunder, Mike Hilton, the invisible balance, and Julian Love, the silent heart of this new defensive era. Today, the Seattle Seahawks are at that exact point where past and future stare at each other in the mirror. We don't have a perfect roster, but we have pieces. We have an identity emerging, and we have choices to make. If McDonald and Schneider hit the right notes, 2025 could be more than just a transition. It could be a rebirth. Do you believe that, fan? Then comment below. Does this team have what it takes to truly explode in the NFC West? Let's have this conversation like true 12s, loud, opinionated, and with love for this jersey.